California's Communities is supported by the California Redevelopment Association Foundation, a statewide organization made up of cities, counties, nonprofits, and private businesses sharing a common goal of bringing renewed life to neighborhoods and downtowns by expanding local businesses, creating jobs, building affordable housing, restoring buildings, and improving public facilities and infrastructure. Redevelopment, building better communities throughout California.
Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Hauser, and here we are. It's about 9:30 on a beautiful Saturday morning, and we are in beautiful downtown Perris, California. Not Paris.
California's Communities is supported by the California Redevelopment Association Foundation, a statewide organization made up of cities, counties, nonprofits, and private businesses sharing a common goal of bringing renewed life to neighborhoods and downtowns by expanding local businesses, creating jobs, building affordable housing, restoring buildings, and improving public facilities and infrastructure. Redevelopment, building better communities throughout California.
Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Hauser, and here we are. It's about 9:30 on a beautiful Saturday morning, and we are in beautiful downtown Perris, California. Not Paris, but Perris. We're in Riverside County, about 50 miles east of LA, about 10-15 miles south of Riverside. I'm standing with, introduce yourself to everybody.
Michael McDermott. I'm the Redevelopment Economic Development Director for the city.
Okay, so you got a lot on your plate, and today is a very big day. You've invited us here to Perris for a big event. What's getting ready to happen? Well, first off, where are we right now? What is this building?
Well, we're at the restored Santa Fe Depot. It was originally built in 1892. It's recently been restored, and today is actually two events. It's the opening of the Historical Museum inside of it. It's also Fred T. Perris Day here in the city.
Okay, so it's a big day.
Correct.
And this is actually a perfect example of some of the exciting things that are happening as far as redevelopment and community development and economic development are concerned here in Perris.
Well, absolutely. This project would have never been completed or even started without the agency's funding, and it's a great project. It just shows you that you can do pretty much anything if this is a 2-year process to do this building.
Well, so obviously there's a lot of community support for this. We are early. The actual ceremony doesn't happen until 11. He got me here early, but that's okay because we're going to leave right now and go downtown and look around, and then we're going to come back for the big dedication ceremonies and a walk through the old depot.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot to see in there, and this is really the new pride and joy of the community.
It's the new downtown destination. Correct.
Okay, here we go. We're off. We're going to be spending the day here in Perris, California, which is definitely a fine example of one of California's communities. Okay, our adventure begins. We're in beautiful downtown Perris, we're less than a block away from the old train depot where all the activities going to be taking place, but we've come here, and boy, this is a beautiful little building right here on the corner downtown, to talk about your big plans for redeveloping the downtown area.
Right, this is another one of our historical buildings that we're trying to restore. This is the original Perris Bank building. It was built in 1918. If you removed all that stucco up there, you would say Perris Bank under there.
I've seen the old pictures. It looks just like it did. And I see the Perris. Are you going to remove that stucco and bring it back to its original look?
Well, we are, and it's out to bid now, and the interior will be brought back to what or at least the best we know, what the old bank looked like inside.
And what's this building going to be? What's it going to be used for once it's restored?
It'll be a historical archival museum, sort of a partner with the Depot Museum behind us.
I gotcha. So this is a perfect place to have a museum right in the middle of town. And again, you know, it's a wonder it's survived all these years.
You know, it is a wonder. It's unreinforced masonry. It's actually stacked up on stacks of bricks under there, and yet it's still standing. So part of the renovation is to make it reinforced masonry.
Okay, now you're going to restore this building right across the street is an example of something else that you're going to be working on here in Perris.
Correct. We just launched a facade program for downtown Perris.
A facade
program. A lot of the buildings you see were built in the late 1800s, I believe 1895 and 1891 respectively. And underneath those buildings, underneath that stucco on some of the buildings, there's cut stone facades, there's original facades, there's windows that have been stuccoed over. So our hope is to bring back the historical look on the agency's dime and have a nice looking downtown.
How is the community responding to all of this?
The community's been great. We've done a whole new plan for the downtown. We've asked for their input. In fact, this program arose out of that outreach, and everyone's on board.
Mike's showing me a drawing, and boy, this really catches your attention because this is kind of a before and after, and I would never know that there's anything important going on over there. What's that noise?
That's our steam train coming up to the depot.
Oh, part of the celebration.
Part of the celebration.
We're not going to miss anything, are we?
We are not.
All right, just want to make sure. That's why we're here.
That's right.
What's going to happen over here? And this, I think, is a perfect example of just how much you can change the look of these old buildings.
Well, it shows you what stucco can cover up. I mean, there should be a bank of second-story windows there. That was actually 2 stores, not 1, and there's a lot of ornate tile work under that stucco too. So we'll just see what we can do with the stucco and if either restore it or start over.
How do you know what's under there?
Well, luckily enough, the historical folks, the Museum Association in town, have great archives, photos, drawings. So every building here, pretty much, we know what used to be there.
But according to your drawing, there are 2 buildings there. It just looks like one to me.
Well, inside that store, there's probably a post or 2 where the bearing wall used to be, the separating wall. So subject to who's in the store, we can either put that wall back or not.
That's going to look totally different.
Absolutely.
Than it does right now. So now you're getting the idea that when you walk downtown, a lot of the things you see really are going to look totally different once this kind of takes hold and you start. What are you going to basically do? Just take a lot of stucco off the front? And
well, each building has its own issue here, but obviously this building has numerous coats of stucco on it.
Yeah.
Part of the program also is sort of a unified sign and a look, whether it be awnings or sign work. So
well, you're not going to gentrify it too much,
no,
are you?
Absolutely not. If you look at downtown Perris, you'll see clapboard buildings, you'll see stone buildings, brick buildings, but it's an old town. The town's been around since the late 1800s, so that's the look.
There's culture here in Perris. You got an old movie theater over here. What's the deal on that? It's called the Chief.
It is called the Chief. Well, currently there's a ministry operating out of that building, but we just opened discussions yesterday, to purchase this building.
The city did?
The city, well, the agency, the redevelopment agency.
Okay, and what are you going to use it for?
Well, there's an upswelling of need for culture activities, so it could be a neighborhood playhouse. It's never going to operate as a movie theater again, but it would be a nice little playhouse.
A place for the arts.
Correct.
Now, how old is this? I can't tell by looking, but this looks like the front part of it there, Art Deco, something from the 30s or 40s?
That'd be my guess, and it is a guess, but yeah, I think late 30s, early 40s.
Are you gonna leave? Well, you gotta leave that.
Oh, absolutely. It should be totally restored, and we do have pictures of this also. Totally restored the way it was.
Boy, somebody was taking a lot of pictures in those early days here in Perris.
That's right.
And it's a good thing they were.
It is perfect. It gives us a roadmap of what we're doing.
And there's more.
Yes, Huel. In addition to the facades, if you look down, all this inlaid brickwork, the trees, the lamppost is part of the program. We've brought the street down to 2 lanes with the angled parking to try to make it pedestrian friendly.
Look over here, Cameron. There's an example across the street of you put in benches, you put in the new lamppost. You've got the whole thing here. This is to make downtown pedestrian friendly.
Right, and if that ever happened to turn into a restaurant over there, you'd have a little patio to set up your tables on, and it's all pedestrian friendly. We're going to close every other one of these side streets, so there won't be any through traffic.
You're kidding.
Nope, it'll be a nice...
So people will be able to come down here and walk.
That's right, exactly right. You can walk from, just like we're doing today. You can walk from one museum to another museum, to the downtown, to a restaurant. That's the idea.
Yeah, and you've got these new trees planted, you got the new lamppost. Now, how did you decide on the lampposts, what era, what they were going to look like?
Well, these are supposed to represent early 1900s. Like everything else, we look at photos, we look what's appropriate, and these particular poles won out.
You know, by the time you get through, when you come to downtown Perris, you're going to be going back in time. You're going to feel like
That's
you're in
right.
the early 1900s.
That would be a perfect field. That would be a great result to this program.
I'll never look at an old building the same way again, because right here on this one block, we're still in downtown, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different buildings with 6 totally different as far as appearances go, 6 different types of architecture.
That's true. Now, obviously, the one on my left here, the one on the end,
Right here.
is something's under that stucco. That wasn't original design.
All right, so that one's been stuccoed over.
Right.
Then the next one's probably had a lot of work done
Right.
over the years.
Something's on that parapet. It's
Something's
probably brick,
underneath
maybe.
that.
Right.
There's the brick. Now that's original.
Correct.
That's kind of half and half.
Right.
That's kind of half and half. And then the bottom, the one on the end,
That's original stone.
that's beautiful original stone.
So in our case, maybe we do an exploratory search under that stucco and see what's
Yeah.
there.
Boy, this could end up being just a beautiful block right here.
It could, and if you look at the storefronts, this one anyway is pretty much original aside from the aluminum.
Yeah.
And but that's what we're trying to do. Bring it back.
Well, here's a building that says right on the front what it is and when it was built. 1886 Southern Hotel. What's the idea here, Mike?
Well, it's a restored original hotel in town. I think Mr. Mott here can
This
fill
is
you
your
in.
hotel?
Yes,
It's
it
not
is.
still a hotel, is it?
No, it's not. It's an office building.
Your name is?
John Mott.
Okay, now I've done a little bit of research and I have seen old pictures of what this old hotel looked like, I guess, when you bought it. My question is, who in their right mind would buy something there wasn't very much left? It looked like it had burned almost completely down.
Yeah, it really had. In fact, my dad really questioned our, to do it. It wasn't probably a very good idea, but what made it work was the city and also state redevelopment funds and the fact that it was historical and now it's on the historical register. So that's what made it all work.
Okay, so now their offices here.
Right.
And
We also have a museum, and the Bernasconi family built the hotel in 1886. And my daughter's a college student, and as a summer project, she put together a little museum in there honoring the.
Can we look?
Yes.
Can we go in the museum? Let's
We'd
go
love
in the
to.
museum because this is beautiful, and this is basically exactly the way it looked like.
Exactly right. In order to be on the National Register, we went through the state guidelines, and even all the colors and everything we had to do according to try to make it as original as possible.
This was a big deal back in 1886, wasn't it?
It was. It was the first building here. In fact, I talked.
Wait a minute. The first building in Paris.
The first commercial building in
was
Paris
a 2-story hotel.
It was a 2-story hotel. Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let's go in. All right, we're inside. There you are. Hi. Huell Hauser, your name?
Sarah Mott.
We just met your dad outside. Now, this is the little museum.
Yes.
There's the name right there of the family that built this hotel. Is that a Italian name? What kind of name is that?
No, it's actually a Swiss name.
So they were Swiss.
Swiss immigrants, yes.
Why did they come to Paris?
I guess, I don't really know. Probably land or money, start a new life. I'm not sure.
Now, what have you got over here? You put all this together, didn't you?
I kind of made a parlor because 2 of the daughters of Bernardo and Marcelina Bernasconi, who built the hotel, were married in this parlor. So back in the day in 1886, when they built the hotel, they were married here, and this was just the parlor area.
Then over here, you got a little bit of everything, including a lot of
Nails.
square nails.
Yeah.
What's the deal on that?
Well, we found all of this stuff underneath the hotel in 1990 when my dad, who you met outside, restored it. So here's the square nails that were actually used to build the hotel.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Look at all this.
And all this hardware too that we found from underneath the hotel. And we've actually tried to recreate the hotel with the doorknobs similar to what we found.
All these bottles?
Yeah, these were actually donated by my grandmother actually, that were found within Perris, but these bottles over here were found from underneath the hotel.
And what about the shoes?
The shoes were found too.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not. So we don't know whose shoes they are. They might have been Marcelina's, Matilda's,
or
Felicita,
one of the guests from over the years.
Or one of the guests, yeah.
Wow, and you've got the pictures, you've got the timeline.
Yeah.
Do people come in here? Do they know this is here?
Well, I do have a website, and it's southernhotel.org, and you can go to the website and you just email me if you want to come in.
But wait a minute,
see
you're
it.
not here all the time to give the tour.
So I guess I have to make a time to come.
or it's a self-guided tour.
Yeah, or self-guided tour.
Wow, this is great. And this is your start at putting in a museum. This is your first museum.
Yeah, this is my first entrepreneurial museum to do.
Well, congratulations. You've done well.
Thanks.
Okay, Mike, I've stuck with you so far on this tour, and I've been excited by what you've been showing us, but you got to sell me on this, because at first glance, well, at any glance, this looks like a big old empty lot here close to the middle of historic downtown.
Well, that's exactly what it is, Hill. We've spent a lot of time trying to make it a clear, empty lot. We purchased the block, we've cleared the properties, we've done all the environmental work. It's going to be an 84-unit, 3-story mixed-use project, retail and parking garage on the bottom, 84 low to moderate senior income units on top. There'll be a full block-long courtyard up there for outdoor activities, and it's a great project. And it's built, the architecture is of the design of the rest of downtown. It is sort of brownstone looking.
So it's going to blend right in.
Right.
Now, is this a redevelopment project?
It is a redevelopment project. We put in $6 million, and the developer will put in 18.
And this is going to satisfy a need for low to middle income senior housing, which is, you know, really needed all over California.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a great location for it. We have the downtown, we have the senior center in the background there, the library's across the street.
Yeah.
There's a health clinic down the road. It's a perfect location.
Boy. Well, you got to invite us back, because this right here, before long, is going to be, well, one of the crown jewels of what Perris is all about.
It'll absolutely be the anchor of the north end of town.
See, I noticed the little things. You weren't going to show us this, but boy, this really caught my eye. What are we? I've never seen anything like this before.
This is the large trash incinerator from the original 1910 high school.
This is the 1910 high school's trash incinerator.
That's correct.
Well, you know, you find your history where you find it.
That's right.
I think it's beautiful, and it goes back 100 years.
It does.
But we're here not to look at the trash incinerator. We're here to look at this. This is City Hall, and I don't think I've ever seen a City Hall anywhere in California that has a history like this City Hall. Tell us this story, because this is a wonderful story.
Well, first off, actually, this building is the council community chambers. City Hall's a little that way.
Oh,
but
okay.
This is the original 1910 high school, or half of it. Half of it burned down in 1932. The left-hand side here was actually converted into a jail sometime in the 50s. We demoed that, we remodeled, and we've restored it to its original outside, and now it's a community chamber and a council room.
Wow, so what we're looking at here is half of the original 1910 Perris High School. That half of it burned down, the other half burned down in 1932.
That's absolutely correct. In fact, if you looked in the ceiling there, half of these rafters are actually charcoaled.
Wow, we've seen pictures, the old picture of the school when it was, before it burned. What a beautiful place. Do most people, except for just the old timers, know the history behind this?
Well, they do, because we tell them. It's posted in there. But I suppose there are still a lot of residents that just think of it as a building.
Yeah, and you know what this building does? This building makes a real statement about what redevelopment in Perris is all about.
Absolutely.
Is preserving its history and restoring the history and shining it up like this and putting it to a good use.
It really is a gem for the community. The community likes it, the council loves it. I mean, we even have computerized bell tower up there. So It's a great building.
So it's the original 1910 building, but it's been upgraded with a computerized bell tower.
That's correct.
Happy customers, give us a wave. Happy customers, and I think we're going to be happy customers before long. Mike has brought us here because he said this is, well, we're right in downtown Perris, and this is a great place where all the locals come. Introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi, my name is Josephine. We're here at Tarasco Restaurant.
This is your family restaurant.
My family restaurant. Mom, dad, sister, brother, we're all here.
Well, it's kind of a family place. Lots of kids here, lots of families here.
Right.
You're right downtown. Now, we're spending the day here looking at all the things they're doing to redevelop and to clean up and to restore old town, downtown Perris. How do you feel about that?
I'm overwhelmed with all the stuff that they're doing down here. They're going to put a Metrolink station. They're going to put new lights, new palm trees for us.
Yeah.
It's going to make it look a lot nicer.
Yeah, so it's going to make a big difference to your business.
Yes, it is. We're going to get a lot of people coming out. Coming from past 4th Street, now they're going to start coming down here. We're on 6th Street, so we're like at the end, so hopefully we get all the Christmas lights and everything going for us, too.
Well, and you know, they're opening up the museum and the old depot today. I mean, there's a lot going on. Do people in town kind of feel that energy?
Yeah, because it's making it more family-oriented, so people are starting to come out now, go out with their families, go eat, go see the museums, go to the train station.
Yeah, they're coming downtown.
Yes, they're coming downtown. We're getting lots of families out here now.
All right, we're staying here for lunch. What should we get? Besides the margaritas.
Fajitas. Or fajitas. Everybody loves them.
So we're going to get the fajitas, and come on, Cameron, we're going to listen to some music right here. That comes with the meal. Give us a wave, ladies. Okay, we have now come back to the old depot. The crowd is gathering. The hour of the dedication is fast approaching. Tom, you know all about trains and the history of trains in California. How significant is it to have this old depot restored and used as part of life in Perris, California?
Oh, it is extremely significant. It's significant for many reasons. First and foremost, this is the anchor of the city of Perris and the whole Perris Valley area. This depot dates back to 1892, and its restoration not only keeps alive the past of this wonderful valley, but it also is a symbol of the future. It is the north anchor of the Orange Empire Railway Museum and its historic operations, and it is the anchor for the city for people to be able to come out as they are today and enjoy this beautiful depot, the scenery, and have it also be a symbol for the future of what's going to happen out here in Perris.
Wasn't it a huge effort to restore this thing? I think Mike told me earlier that they actually stripped this thing all the way down and put it back up.
That's right. It was a very big operation. They had to take it down to the bricks alone, check out each of the bricks to make sure that they would be able to continue to be part of the depot, and then to seismic retrofit the depot so that it could stand and be around for another 100 years.
Doesn't it hold some kind of a record as being the oldest?
That's what our understanding is. It's one of the oldest Victorian buildings used for a railway depot still around in this country.
So it's a big deal that it's back.
Oh, it's a big deal for Perris and for California.
Introduce yourself to everybody.
I am Midgie Parker, and I am part of the museum, and we're very pleased that you were able to be here on our opening day.
And this came out of nothing. I mean, if we had been here a year ago, none of this would have been here.
There was nothing in this room.
How do you go about putting together, starting a museum like this?
Well, you just start planning of what you would like to tell the story of, and we wanted to tell the story of how Perris became a township.
They got a little bit of everything in here, starting with the farming, the early days of farming here in Perris. And then look over here. Here's the exhibit on the Southern Hotel. We visited the old hotel earlier today. Here's the Perris Depot exhibit right here. We're in the Perris Depot, the Perris Post Office. You know, this is an absolutely beautiful museum. I bet a lot of people end up coming to Perris just to visit this museum.
And that's what we would like. We've worked very hard, and we're so proud of what we are giving back to the city, and that people will come visit.
Well, you know, a lot of people in California these days either don't know or forget about their history. I have a feeling in Perris, everybody knows about their history.
We're hoping they will, that the school children will take tours again, and that they will definitely learn why their town started here.
Okay, we're ending up with a VIP. Introduce yourself to everybody.
My name is Christina Elaine Perris. I'm the great-great-granddaughter of Frederick Thomas Perris.
Who founded this town.
Exactly.
Now, how does it feel to have a town named after your family?
Huel, I'll tell you, it is the most strange feeling to be driving down the freeway and see your family name alongside the freeway and you're going, Perris?
Yeah. Now, you don't live in Perris.
No, I live in Redlands.
Well, that's close enough.
Yeah, it's close. It's close.
So, are you excited? Have you been treated like royalty? Have you been given the key to the city?
Every time I come here, I'm treated like royalty. In fact, the first time I came here was about 10 years ago. And nobody knew who I was until I went up and introduced myself to the guest speaker. And all of a sudden, I'm literally swarmed by people.
Yeah.
I knew she was a Perris. I knew she was a Perris.
Yeah, you got Perris. You got those Perris eyes. I can see it comparing them to your great-great-grandfathers. And I guarantee you, you're never going to get a speeding ticket in this town. All you have to do is show them your driver's license. You're home free.
I think so. Definitely think so.
Well, thank you very much for being
nice
here.
To meet
Mike,
you.
we're ending up the program right here. It doesn't get any better than interviewing a Perris.
I agree.
But we have had, thank you so much for this tour. We have had a wonderful day here, just touring around actually just about a 4 or 5 block area right here in historic downtown Perris. Lots of things happening here now, like the rededication of this great old depot that's now a museum. Lots of excitement in the future too as they restore and redo the storefronts, build the housing for the seniors. Big things happening in Perris, and we are delighted to have been here today for this big kickoff celebration. Perris, California, a fine example of the very best of California's communities. Okay, now we're really ending up the program because suddenly y'all came out of the woodwork, all these Perrises and Levitts. Now, who were the Levitts?
Who were the Levitts?
Yeah, I'm learning.
Benjamin Franklin Levitt Sr. was the one that was involved with Perris on all of these railroad and oil
so
careers.
He built this?
He designed it.
Wow.
He designed it.
I remember when I used to go in his backyard and pick the fruit off the trees.
Wow. Now, you're the senior person here today. You're the real queen bee.
She is.
Well, practically.
And you're 11.
I'm a Levitt, and I'm a granddaughter of
Fred T. Perris.
Fred T. Perris.
Wow. So everybody here, let's get let's get the shot for the picture gets so big we can't even get it in the lens of the camera. Everybody give us a wave. Here are the Levitts and the Perrises. They're all part of the past history, the present history, and the future history of Perris, California. Give us a wave as the train goes by. Perfect timing. We've had a wonderful day. Well, I sure hope you enjoyed our day in Perris. And if you'd like to go on this adventure again or share it with family or friends, it's available on DVD.